One of the comments tonight. We are going to rearrange our schedule a little bit. There is some bad weather on its way, and we're going to try to, we can't avoid it, but we can maybe get you out of here if it starts hitting. So we're going to rearrange the schedule, so bear with us, okay? Right. Okay, it is 6 o'clock, and we convene right now. If you'll please rise, we're going to have the invocation from Miss Roxanne Stryker.
Let's pray. Dear God, I just thank you so much for blessing this little city. And many of us, most of us were able to enjoy that wonderful eclipse yesterday. What an awe-inspiring event. And then that you held off the rain and blessed us with rain abundantly again. So now, Lord, tonight we just pray that you will have your spirit come on this meeting, that we can follow you and listen to each other carefully, and we can make wise decisions. And I pray for wisdom and for open conversation among the council and among the citizens who are here. Thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Take the pledge, honor and protect the flag. Pledge allegiance to thee, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Folks, thank you all very much for being here tonight. We're going to start off with Matt. Going to do a presentation here, so here we go. It's all yours.
Sorry about that. All right, good evening, Mayor, Council, and citizens here. So tonight I have a couple of introductions to make. Actually, it's one introduction. Started with a couple, but a couple of our people can't be here tonight. One introduction and some promotions to make tonight. So can I have Officer Porter? Can you come up to the front, please? Civilian Porter, officers, like if you'll just stand right there for me. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Robert Porter. Robert is one of our newest reserve officers that we have hired. He graduated the academy with Jordan Richards at the same time. That's where we met. And since then, he's been going through our application process alongside a few others for a full-time spot. But he's applied for a reserve position. So tonight, we are going to swear Officer Porter in. And who, you have somebody here to pin you? All right. Come if you want to come up here. All right. So Robert, if you'll raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. I, Robert Porter. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the duties of the Office of Police Officer for the City of Morgan's Point Resort of the State of Texas, and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state. So help me God. All right. This is your fun part. Don't go in too deep. So Officer Porter joins us. He has experience in executive protection, military. He is a military veteran, and he has also been a previous has jail experience as well. So now he's hitting the streets. All right. Along with that, like I said, I had a couple other introductions tonight. So we did hire a full-time officer. We finished up that position, that hiring process. Unfortunately, she is not able to be here tonight due to her current employer having to work. So we will announce her swearing in on the 22nd. That's when that'll be. We'll post that, and we can have that at the Public Safety Center for everybody to come up there in the morning. So outside of that, the other introduction that I had was one of our newest other reserve officers, Seth Ferris. He's unable to be here tonight too due to family engagements. So Seth is also he's currently active duty military and joins us with about 4 years of law enforcement experience in various states. Moving on to that, I have a couple of promotions. First off, back in January, we promoted Officer Newsom to Sergeant Newsom. At that time, we did not have he didn't have an official pinning. So tonight we will go ahead and do an official swearing in oath of office for him, and then he will have family pin him as well. So can I get Sergeant Newsom to the front? You know the drill. Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will execute the duties of office, that I will execute the duties of the office of Sergeant for the City of Morgansport Resort of the State of Texas, and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state. So help me God. All right. Who do you have that you want to have pin you? All right. So along with the appointment of an additional position that council voted on in February, if my time's right, I've slept a lot since then. We had presented prior to that a staffing plan for once we had returned to that staffing level with that additional position that we would promote and make the rank structure what it was prior to my appointment as chief of police. So can I get Sergeant Todd Hodge to the front, please? Sergeant Hodge tonight is being promoted to lieutenant. You have your wife and kids. All right, y'all want to come up here too? Who's gonna do your bars? All right, I'll let you handle that. Swearing in. All right, Todd, will you raise your right hand and repeat after me? I state your name. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of lieutenant for the City of Morgansport Resort of the State of Texas, and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state. So help me God. So is a little bit extra on this one. So they get a little collar insignia, what and some refer to the military as butter bars. So they're going to do that, and then we're going to let his wife pin his badge on him. All right. I would like to give all of these people a round of applause.
Thank you, Matt. Okay, at this time, we're going to go into citizens' comments. This is an opportunity for members of the citizens to bring up topics of interest to the council. We ask that you limit your presentation to 3 minutes. And you will be recognized, and at that time, if you'll step up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, we'd appreciate it. First one, Mike Hankins.
Mike Hankins, Tanyard Road, near Oakmont Park. I saw on the agenda a couple of stop signs around there, so I thought this would be a good time to, I wrote to a couple of you, a good time to mention Oakmont Park. I live near there. I see people walking their dogs down daily, people with strollers, and I also know that there are some people who speed down to there, and there's a hump in the middle of Tanyard, sorry, it's a hill in the middle of Tanyard Road where you can't see the whole street. And coming out of the park, it's a big turn to come up to the intersection of Timberline and Tanyard. Timberline has a stop sign. That's where the school bus and most of the UPS trucks come from. But Tanyard Road has no stop signs. And there's a house on Timberline that's also on Tanyard, and his carport backs into Tanyard Road. It's a very dangerous place to back out of. I said his because the house is for sale, but I know the owner. So I suggest, and I'm suggesting this be made into a 3-way stop. Keep the one that's there and add 2 more like you're planning on doing on the agenda. Thank you.
Andrea Hawkins, there's Hankins.
3 minutes, so I can pick up on my husband's comment. Actually, I think you forgot something because there are stop signs on here. Why is Tanyard constantly ignored? Because people stop on Timberline naturally, it's a right angle. But Tanyard is a straight shot down when you come from the intersection, except for that extended curve. So if anybody with common sense puts a stop sign somewhere, he puts it on Tanyard, not on Timberline, where people always stop to begin with. So that aside, now I have to express something that I saw when I looked at the agenda, page 2 and 3. Well, so here's the city manager's update. And I go down, city council meeting, public hearing. The what? Public hearing? Down there. And I guess I didn't figure out or what, or I thought it's maybe a mistake, or editing mistake. Turn the page. And on the computer, I just scroll down. I see camping at Oakmont Park, city manager update. And I was wondering, when was the predate? Because I have not ever seen camping at Oakmont Park addressed by the city council. I've never seen it on an agenda. So apparently, somebody must have approached the city manager to update you, and I would assume the only people that would ask the city manager to update on camping at Oakmont Park is you. Otherwise, why would he update you on Oakmont Park? Now, beyond that, when I recall voting for you, and I was not the only one that voted for you, right? It was somehow with the understanding that there's going to be transparency, citizen involvement, trust, and whatnot. Oh, my heart was so bleeding that I voted for everybody of you. Apparently, some of you put this aside. It must be somebody, at least one person, must decide, well, we are done with the bleeding hearts and transparency and all what all. I want some campers down there at Oakmont Park, and I'm going to kind of slide it in. I'm going to have all my ducks in the row, and then we're going to present it, have a quick public meeting and hearing or whatever, and it's going to happen. I think I'm watching the clock.
I can speak
Okay.
to matters of fact, and I can interject in the matter of fact here, and I don't mean to brush anybody off. I hope the timer has paused because I don't want to take into your time. But this was not brought to me by council. This was something that I saw as a natural resource, and it's been provided to the council in my packet as a discussion item and discussion item only, and that is to get feedback, and that is my matter of fact on this item. that has been brought here.
Well, thank you for the enlightenment. I do hope so that the city council, all of you, that you actually stick to what we were voted in for. Be transparent on every step of the way, especially camping at Oakmont Park and Tenured and all the traffic and speeding and the trash and no restrooms and whatnot, that you inform the citizens from now on, I would assume, hopefully. Thank you.
Denise? Oh, Denise is here somewhere. I know there she is. You're kind of hiding behind her.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Denise Seibert, 114 Great West Loop. Well, I had the scary way of having to go out of this community at 10:30 this morning. And I tell you what, Cottonwood and North Point were really ridiculously scary. Front yards, backyards. I know we had excess of rain. We really need to look at our drainage systems and fix those ditches, maybe a little more serious deep, because it was really scary. And I had to get to Gatesville. Gatesville 36 was a lot not scarier than this neighborhood. Really scary getting out of here. And that would be bad for EMS, fire, police. I mean, we really need to look at our ditches and do some upgrades, do some revamp, do redig or something, because really scary. So thank you.
There were a lot of roads around here this morning that were scary. If you rode around Morgan's Point Road anywhere. Larry?
Larry Hartman, 112 Great West Loop, right, her neighbor. But I know there's a lot of things that take a lot of time in this city to get done. You know, a lot more time than what you should have to spend getting things done. But I want to commend you, Ryan, for getting the stairs at the marina completed. Now, are they perfect? Probably not. But they're there, and now our fire department can go ahead and train again, since they were the original ones to, you know, rearrange the stairs. But I think they'll hold the weight limit now. But anyway, I do want to thank you, because there are a lot of little things like that need to be addressed in the city, and you're taking the time to do that, and I appreciate that.
Roxanne, do you want to give a report on the organizations there?
So I don't know if I should say Roxanne Stryker or Jojo Allen, Jojo Guzman, because I'm reading this letter for her, and she asked that we present it tonight. So she said, "Thank you, Council and Mayor. I could not attend because I had to attend another council meeting. So it's greatly appreciated that this is read during comments. This is what makes Morgan's Point Resort special and unique. Everyone coming together for the good of our little city. The Ladies Auxiliary, MPR, VFD, Cops and Robbers 5K will be held on April 13th. The race will begin promptly at 8:30, starting at Oakmont Park and going through the neighborhood streets to the marina and back. As of this writing, 4/5 of 24, over 180 runners and walkers have signed up, and all are looking forward to this new Syntex Race Series, Chipped Time Race event being held in our little gym of a city. My heartfelt thank you to Catrice Jackson from City Hall, Fire Chief Sharon Vasquez, BJ Scheibel from the Maintenance Department, and Police Chief Matthew Schutze. Each of these individuals and their departments has willingly and happily assisted the Ladies Auxiliary and me, race director, in ensuring we have everything in place to make this upcoming 5K more than just a thing for some crazy runners, but a community event for the future to come. I can only see this event growing, and that is because of the department's willingness to give of themselves, because they believe in serving the community just as we all do. First impressions are crucial, and the running community often judges a place by how they are treated during their visits. This 5K event is a perfect opportunity to showcase the warm hospitality of Morgan's Point Resort to our visitors. They will be captivated by the breathtaking views of the lake, the vibrant wildlife, and the bustling marina, understanding why each of us holds Morgan's Point Resort in such high regard. Again, my heartfelt thank you to the staff, council, mayor, and volunteers who are willingly coming out to help and support the Syntex Race Series Cops and Robbers 5K. Your servant's heart truly touched me. Joe L., our Jojo Guzman, 22 Willow Run. Thank you.
Thank you. You ready? The next, council, we're going to have proclamation 2024-0409. It's National Volunteer Week, and we're going to have our newest communications lady, Susanna Bowman, here is going to read the proclamation for us.
Thank you. I'm Susanna Bowden, the Communications Coordinator and Staff Support. The proclamation says National Volunteer Week. Whereas the city of Morgan's Point Resort, Texas, is fortunate to have a group of dedicated volunteers who generously give their time, energy, and talents to help make our community a better place. And whereas National Volunteer Week, enacted in 1974 by President Richard Nixon, celebrates the spirit of volunteerism, urging all Americans to seek opportunities to provide service to their community. And whereas the work of these volunteers is often behind the scenes, but their efforts contribute to the quality of life in Morgan's Point Resort in countless ways, preserving our history and natural resources, enhancing our parks and public spaces, and promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion. And whereas volunteers serve on a variety of city boards and committees, including but not limited to the Morgan's Point Resort Planning and Zoning Commission, Parks and Recreation Committee, Friends of the Library Board, Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee, Economic Development Corporation, and whereas volunteers serve in organizations not directly funded by the city, such as Morgan's Point Resort Community Outreach for Police Support, COPS, Ladies Auxiliary, NPR Volunteer Firefighters Association, VFA, with no expectation of anything in return. Now, therefore, I, Dennis Green, Mayor of the City of Morgan's Point Resort, Texas, do hereby proclaim April 14th through 20th, 2024 as a National Volunteer Week and call upon all citizens to join me in expressing our gratitude to the members of our city committees for their tireless dedication and service to our committee. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Morgan's Point Resort to be affixed this 9th day of April 2024. Dennis Green, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you to our volunteers.
You did a lot better job than I could have, so thank you very much. And it goes without saying, we could not survive without our volunteers. So, and there are so many different organizations. Just thank y'all, from the library to the police to the fire to Parks and Watch to everything. I can't name them all. So we're always accepting more. So if you know of anybody that needs to feel wanted, please have them come by and sign up. Okay. Okay, moving right along.
Mayor, before we go to the next section, I would like to say, not to hijack this meeting, but I know everybody in here is aware of all the flooding and all the roads that were blocked today. I want to take this moment to especially thank all of our staff that ensured we were able to get into this building today because it was flooded as of 3 p.m. this afternoon. There was water up on the walls or to the baseboards. It had actually got in here and flooded, and we thought we were potentially going to have to cancel the meeting. So I want to say thank you to all of our staff that worked to get us in this building.
Thank you very much, Ryan. Go ahead, moving right along. I'd like to discuss and consider approving the minutes for our March 12th, 24 regular session. Do I hear a motion to accept those minutes, please?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the March 12th regular session community meeting, as well as the minutes from the executive session held on April 3rd, 2024.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion on it? Is everybody okay? Okay.
They called me the interim mayor, and I think it's Mayor Pro Tem. So I said the interim is the city manager. So,
Okay, which minutes were those?
from the Tuesday, March 12.
We'll see that gets corrected interim.
I don't know if it
Mayor Pro
matters or
Tem.
not, but yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Going on to committee reports. I know you're already given one, Roxanne. Economic Development, you want to say anything? You want to say them? Say them.
Come on up.
Linda Bridges from Economic Development Corporation. I want to promote our third Saturday Market and Business Showcase. The EDC is a member of Main Street USA, and they recommend that we do pop-up demonstrations. So this is something that the EDC is looking at, is let's try something inexpensive, see how it goes. And so we're coming up with a few ideas that we hope to discuss with City Council on the road. And I think we're going to push it to May instead of, we've got too many things going on in April. But if you had any questions for me from the report I sent in, or do you want to wait, or?
Well, we'll probably we'd like to meet with the new city manager also.
That's what I'm
Like that in
thinking.
there, so we'll probably all get together at that time.
Okay, so,
Great report, Linda, though.
what was it?
Lots of great stuff
Oh.
in there.
Thank you.
Thank you very
A lot
much.
of ideas.
Yeah,
So,
good ideas.
anyway.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I still love your newsletter. Your newsletter's awesome.
Main Street Matters.
Okay.
Want to do a library report?
Pam Robinson, Mary Ruth Briggs Library Chairperson. I'm going to talk to you about Elder Explorers. Last month, we had Anyone Can Draw on March the 28th. And let me tell you, every one of us did. You could almost identify what it was supposed to have been, but we had a great time doing it. We had a hot chocolate bar with cookies. We played LCR, a dice game, and I won 2 times because it's my game. And I want to thank Roxanne for joining us at that meeting. I think she had as much fun as we did, but the citizens really enjoyed having somebody there from council. They asked her questions, and she was there to answer them, so it was really good. At this month's elders meeting is going to be April the 25th, and we're holding it at Fellowship Baptist Church on Morgan's Point Road. And we're going to have Kimberly, hospital chaplain, who has her 2 pet therapy dogs that she'll show to us. And I think that's going to be a great time. So many people, we've had some people that don't like dogs and they don't want to be around them, but the majority of people have been very positive on it. And I think they're 2 labs, if I'm not mistaken, so you know they'll be friendly. Little library news. We had ordered 7 children's eclipse books, and they've been out on the shelving, and people have been taking them. And so if you have children that might still be interested in it, had their interest peaked, well, we have some books. And I want to introduce a book by our former library board member, Jordan Petter. She's now the librarian at Lake Belton High School. We have it here, and anybody could check it out. We're trying to get her to meet the author, but she hasn't given me a date yet. So I'll get back to you on that. That's what we're doing.
Thank you, Pam.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
I'm
Becky, do you have
the
any-
elder on this board, that's why I have to come. Okay.
You're representing them, yeah.
I'm Becky with Planning and Zoning. Just ignore the patch for this section. Y'all have the report. I just want to commend my team. We voted on staggered terms, and immediately we had 4 volunteers that said, I'll just take a 1-year term. So if this is approved by council tonight, this will go into effect in October. They will go up for a 1-year term and then be up for re-election. And so I want to commend Ken Hobbs, Les Minor, Eric Sliger, and Lou for volunteering immediately for that.
Thank you, Beck. Appreciate it. Steven, do you want to do anything on Parks and Recreation?
Parks and Recs did not meet in March. We're waiting for the city manager, and we will keep you guys posted.
Look at you next month.
Yep.
Okay, department reports. Anybody?
Guess it's just me. Yeah. We can skip that.
Oh, I just had a comment on the maintenance report. And BJ mentioned, and it's not pulling up here for some reason, the new feature, and maybe you, Ryan, you can speak at this, the new feature, the work order feature on the website, and how maintenance is administering that, just to let everybody know it's up, running, and working.
So, yeah, there are a couple ways to do work orders. There's the Text My Gov, which I think was implemented long before I got here. There's also the request tracker that has the ability for people to submit work orders online. What I'm trying to tell everybody as we get the word out is if you submit a work order and you don't get a response or you don't see any action being done, please follow up. We did find out that some of those are going to junk mail and spam mail filters. So while you're sitting there thinking, well, golly, how many times do I have to put this in? It's because it's just sitting there, hasn't been printed out, hasn't been brought to anybody's attention. So if you feel that may be the case, feel free to reach out as we work through some of these bugs that we're going through on this.
Good? Okay, moving right along. Any other? Yes.
Okay, Becky with the PDPIO. Tomorrow morning, 7 a.m., Coffee with the Cop. We are going to be meeting at Sol de Jalisco number 4, which is on the Four Corners area. We're partnering with them for coffee, so we hope to see y'all there.
Thank you, ma'am.
If you can do 6, I'll be there.
Okay.
I listen to you.
Okay, without any other reports, we'll go into open public hearing. We're going to conduct a public hearing to approve a specific use short-term rental request at 37 Blue Bandit Loop at Morgan's Point, or in Morgan's Point. Do I hear a motion? It's open to the public. If there's any comments, this is for a short-term rental on 37 Blue Bonnet Lane, or Loop, excuse me. Anybody? Oh. We're going to open it up at 6:36. Anybody have comments? Yes, sir. You step up to the. Yes.
He's probably rented it like 4 times. So I don't know what's going on there, but the very first renter drove on my property. Huh?
State your name and your address.
My name is Chris Kalina, and I'm from 31 Blue Bonnet Loop, right next door. So the first renter that rented it, they drove on my property to get to his backyard. So I was just wondering, are you approved? Is it already approved, or?
This is up for public hearing right now.
Okay. So.
Are you for it or against it, or what would you have a comment?
I'm not against him doing it. I just want him to take care of his business, and not let his people come on my property. And we went to the planning and zoning board also when they had a meeting about it. And that street's pretty narrow right there, parking and stuff. And there's a fire extinguisher or fire hydrant right in front of his house right there. So I I think the planning and zoning, they said, what, 2 vehicles could park in the front? So, it seems like when people rent these places, they come into town and they're here to see family or whatever. So they, instead of messing up their family's house, they all come to that house. So you got vehicles parked everywhere so they can.
There is a limit on the number of vehicles that are allowed on a VRBO or short-term rental.
That doesn't mean that they always do that.
Well, we gotta try. We've gotta start somewhere,
Yeah,
so
I'm just letting you know, so.
we appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. No.
From P&Z.
Just a comment. I rented Airbnbs a few times. I will never do it again. But in some localities, if somebody owns an Airbnb, they have to have a representative for this particular Airbnb available 24 hours a day to take care of any issues that are with that Airbnb. I'm not sure if Morgan's Point has a provision for the Airbnbs. Doubt it, but
There are provisions
Let's
on
sort
certain
something out.
noise levels and occupancy and things like that, so we do have regulations, rules on that.
Well,
Any further comments on Airbnb or short-term rental? If not, I'm gonna close the public hearing at 6:39. And the next thing on the agenda is discuss, consider approving specific use permit for short-term rental at 37 Blue Bonnet. Do I hear,
I'll open for discussion.
pardon?
I'll open for discussion.
Okay. Second?
second.
Okay. Discussion.
So you want me to go through kind of what I wrote?
Oh, okay.
Just so you know, this took to the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting where they recommended approval contingent on a restriction being placed on the limiting of the parking to 2 vehicles. Following that meeting, additional information was received by me pertaining to the parking and clarification for the 3 spots of parking that was requested. So they're requesting a maximum of 3 vehicles, and anything larger than a passenger vehicle, such as a boat or RV, would be required to use the lot behind the residence. Parking is not permitted on the street at any time for those using the rental. And to provide for 3 vehicles, the applicant has requested the council authorize parking 2 vehicles in the driveway, with 1 vehicle being parked in the grass next to the driveway. So basically what they're requesting is what anybody else in the city can do. But there would be absolutely no street parking. If street parking is occurring, then we would need to be notified so that we could send police out there or Jay or whatever the need was to rectify that. But that was the intent, was to have 3 side by side. I can't speak to the property being used already. I can't speak to what's been done to the neighbor's property. I'm happy to have that conversation offline. But this is the information that was brought to me. There is a 24-hour representative. There's not a representative here for the property, but there is a property management company that is managing this rental. I can't speak to that, but what I can say is in our ordinance, we do have a provision that if they are not at the meeting, the council or the Planning and Zoning Commission can deny the request. That being said, I foresee in no foreseeable future that that person could be at this meeting because of their work conflicts.
I had a discussion with Ryan, on this today, so it makes sense to me. It's not a requirement. P&Z has the opportunity to request that they be there, and the council has an opportunity to request that they be here, but it's not a requirement.
But are they, when you're discussing this, they're saying, can I do this? Is that correct?
Yes, they're asking for permission for a short-term rental. Or
Like
sending
they-
a
it's not
representative.
required.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not required,
Right.
but they don't have to be here themselves. They can also have a representative.
Yes, you can do this, but you're not here to explain why your people are running the property, why your people are doing this.
I would answer that the property owner has conflicts and is not living in the city currently. And he sent a letter to all of us in council giving detailed information of why he couldn't be here and why he was requesting. So he did present to us via email. So just so you know that.
I'm sorry, discussion's been closed on this
Yeah,
right now.
it's a
so
good point, and we'll-
I'm sorry, it's in the middle of discussion right now, so we need to proceed. So it's been a motion has been made, seconded, and we discussed it. Do you want to discuss it further?
So, Mayor and Council, I have Fire Chief Vassas on a text message as well. He wanted to reiterate, since he can't be here tonight, that under previous city administration, there was a process for which the fire department began a policy and procedure for inspection of short-term rentals as well to go through that. And I don't think that was ever implemented based on his information. So that may be something to consider too before going through with any additional approvals. I mean, that's under your purview, but that's what he wanted me to explain was that under previous city administration, they did develop a inspection process and criteria and things for, I guess, under adoption of fire code, when the fire code was adopted as well, to make sure that they are in compliance of those kind of things. And I don't think that it's gone through that process. So just for y'all's information as well.
Go ahead. Please, you have the option, I mean, you have to contact the police department anytime you notice something like that. That's the only way we know, says, that unless somebody tells us, so. Yeah, okay.
How do we want to move forward?
So everything is in order, and I'm on board with you 100%. I'm tracking what Chief said. Let me backtrack to that one for a minute. So the program to inspect these homes that are going to be up for short-term rentals was never officially adopted. So again, that's not an absolute requirement currently, as of right now, this moment.
Yeah, if I believe I'm reading Fire Chief Vassas' text message right, I don't know where in line that was put into the approval process or if it ever was, but I know there is a fire department inspection, probably along the lines of when they adopted the International Fire Code for the city, to make sure that they were up to fire code before occupants began occupying the property as a rental, so to say. That's my understanding. So
Okay.
he wanted me to bring that up.
But as of right now, everything is according to our bylaws right now, everything's right.
Okay, so just a caveat, I hate that word, by the way. When we get to future agenda items, I want to look at that, because if we are renting out a lot of these properties, we need to make sure that they are dress at that level. So if you would make note of that, please, sir. So, Mr. Mayor, as I'm understanding that then all the documentation currently is in order, minus the parking lot, or parking spot. And I know it's a two-car garage with a large driveway. But that portion that the homeowner says they can park on will be on your property if it's an additional vehicle? Okay, that's an issue. Okay.
Council, there's been a motion and a second. No further discussion. I need a call for a vote. All in favor?
Okay. Well, we just voted to discuss. We didn't vote to actually accept it yet.
I thought we had,
I don't think we did we?
we didn't? Okay. I need a motion to accept,
So-
please.
I would like to make a motion to accept this short-term rental property with 2 parking spaces and not 3. I think that looks like that could be an issue, and maybe that's what we need it to be.
And I'm just getting clarification. So motion to accept with 2 parking spaces. There is parking available in the back. Do we want to still limit the others? So,
I don't think anybody would be opposed to them parking in the back. Do we need to put that in then, or does it need to be
If
off-street?
you're going to limit to 2, then you need to put that in there. Also,
Can they get to the back without driving through his yard, would be my question.
Yes.
Yeah, there's Cotton, the other street.
Yeah, you can access the back of the property from Buttercup Loop. Yeah.
Okay, that's your motion made. Second?
Okay, so just so I'm tracking, Mr. Mayor, so motion to approve 2 vehicles up front with no limitation on the rear as long as they access the property from behind the house. That's the motion? And,
Yes, you're amending it to say that, and that is correct.
okay, so I will motion to amend her motion. 2 vehicles up front, access to the rear from Buttercup Loop, avoiding your property.
Okay, second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
And then, is there, Matt, let me just ask you this, is there a different phone number other than 911 for the residents to call if they have weekend issues on any property? Is there a police, so we don't have to go through dispatch or whatever?
No, unfortunately, we set out the same process for all of that because an officer may not be available to answer a cell phone or anything like that. So we put it through dispatch where it everything is recorded and time-stamped. That way it lets out the fact of, well, I never got that phone call or anything like that. It makes an actual recording of it.
So 911 is the number to call?
Not necessarily. We tell everybody that because we do not have a dispatcher that sits at their office. But if you call the office, there is the option 1 when you call our police department that will connect you with a dispatcher. It's the same as calling 911, just not a 911 phone line, but you're going to talk to the same people. Yes. So it goes to an admin line instead of, but you're talking to one of the same people that would pick up the phone if you call 911. So.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's get right along. I'd like to discuss and consider ordinance 2024.02. That has to do with the stop signs on Bending Branch and Wills Point Road, Wills Point Ray, and Quitman Court. Do I hear a motion to accept that ordinance 2024?
I'll make a motion to accept ordinance 2024-02, placing additional stop signs at Bending Branch and Willis something Quitman Court with the, oh, wait a minute, you gave us a new ordinance. It had Oakmont Park there, but the new ordinance that you, Ryan, just gave us, I think is correct, right?
correct. We removed Oakmont from that ordinance because we're still having conversations about other options that may be available.
Okay, so with the new ordinance that you were just handed tonight, I make a motion to accept.
A second?
I'll second it.
Okay, second. Any discussion on that? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Did you want to make comment on that, Ryan? Okay, that motion passes. Next thing, be sure I don't get out of line here, is the approving the $50,000 T-Mobile grant for the Economic Development Corporation.
So, yeah, actually, is Linda here?
Yeah, here.
So there was a little bit of confusion on this. The EDC actually requested that the city authorize staff to apply for a $50,000 grant from T-Mobile. The reason being is while the EDC would be using a majority of these funds on things that on things that their board has identified. Some of those projects identified are city assets. So the city needs to take action to authorize us to apply for the grant. Is that correct, Linda?
Do we need a motion on that?
Yeah, and there's no match for that grant.
Do I hear a motion to accept the $50,000 T-Mobile grant for the Economic Development Corporation?
I'll make a motion to authorize EDC to apply for the T-Mobile grant of $50,000 for beautification in and around the event center.
Second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, next one on there is, it has to do with the enterprise fund rates, which we had talked earlier in this afternoon. Do you want to continue with that, Dorothy, or?
Yeah, we talked about it at the workshop a little bit, and we started with the marina rate and talked about some options, how we haven't had a marina rate increase in 8 years. And the last two that we've had since the 2000 have been in the 3 to 5 to 3 to 6% per annum. And so I would like to make a motion to authorize staff to look at the marina rates for 2024 to include a per annum increase less than 3%, if you can do that. And then a look at the locker rates, a look at possibly a charge on the trailer storage.
You want them to come up with a scenario for basically the marina?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
There was,
We need a motion on that for the.
I just want to make a motion for the staff. Is that to vote on for you to look into that? Okay.
We'll just direct them to do that. And when you need that, when you want that by, Dorothy? Do you want to, you want to put a time frame on it? Do you want to put 60 days?
As soon as possible, as far
May?
as.
Could they do it by May?
I would want to give the patrons a 30 to 60 day notification once we come up with the rate.
Yeah, I mean, I'm meeting with Ronnie tomorrow about his upcoming budget, and so I think that would be an easy time because you said he shared his thoughts with you. I haven't seen it, but I mean, I know people have kicked around that idea about $1 a square foot or something that way. So hopefully then I can meet with him and then discuss with you, Ryan, and come up with a couple different scenarios, and we can see if we have something for May.
I would like to put on the record a citizen comment during the workshop about how it's not apples to apples comparing our marina to North Point Marina. Those slips in North Point come with lifts, and they actually are able to break their lease, leave their lease, and then come back. So it's not a continuous lease. And so if we were to probably look at it, I don't know where the numbers would fall, but you might actually be real close to the same numbers, honestly, if you take into consideration that, I don't have to pay for a slip fee November, December, January, February, because there's 4 months I'm not renting a slip. So let's make.
But I mean, I'll let Ronnie help with that because I mean, if Frank's Marina is more apples to apples, then.
Have you been to Frank's Marina?
I know, that's why I'm going to let the marina manager.
I want to look at rates. I want to look at competitive rates, and I want to work toward competitiveness. But I really don't want to go beyond the 3% per annum over an 8-year period.
Right.
And then also, I would like it in the policy or whatever you're going to come up with, that the enterprise rates, all of them, but including marina, be evaluated annually, not just for increases, but just evaluated annually to determine if rates need to be adjusted.
I mean, and then the same thing would hold true with the water. I mean,
And waste.
the city has eaten the last 3 years of City of Temple increases.
Yeah. I would like to suggest also that the head of the water department would also come up with a recommended rate. If we need to increase, we need to know why and if we should do that. And with the wastewater too.
And that's why we use, we have that website to where we're going to have Waterworth give us their recommended rates and stuff like that based on the data over the last year to 2 years.
Okay.
That might not be feasible to do in time for the upcoming budget. So we might have almost like a two-prong of, hey, let's at least increase the water rate to recoup the last 2 years of Temple increases, or 3 years, or whatever it is, but then come back with a better rate study, probably mid-year. It might be December, January type time period, and then we could bring that to council and let y'all vote. Or then even if we just hold off on it to then this time next year, then that would allow for discussion back and forth between council and Jesse and myself and the new city manager.
So
We'll get
are our
that on-
enterprise funds losing money?
No,
They're all on the positive, right?
correct.
Okay, so I think one of the things, I was voted for the citizens of Morgan's Point, and so my instant reaction is, I'm all about making money. That's great, but we're a city. So yes, we need to cover ourselves, but there's people that live in our community on fixed incomes, and that, one of the perks of living here is it's been an affordable and amazing place to live. And I don't want to start messing with that to a point that it makes it inaccessible for the people that have lived here for a long time.
I do understand that, and our goal is not to be in ivory towers. But we do have to keep in mind that the only way we pay for infrastructure, the only way we keep things running is to have excess money in the bank to pay for those things as they occur. We do have to incur debt at some point, and we have to pay that debt off. And without raising rates, we can break even all day, but we won't make any actual progress in infrastructure, because we'll always be playing the catch-up game.
And Stephen, there's another way to do that too, which we looked at when we did the rates in 19. We did residential only, so I don't know the last time commercial rates were evaluated, so I would like them thrown in the mix.
Well, this is gonna come up for discussion again once we get the proposal.
Let me just
so we'll
throw one
we'll
more
look at that.
thing out, and I would like a tiered structure. So right now, it's in your base rate, I think you get 1,000 gallons. We can look at that. We can look at in the base rate, you get 2,000, 2,500, and then we only have a two-tiered structure. And it's because council wanted to keep it really simple because we hadn't had a rate increase in a while. But I think we can look to the point of a 3 to 4 year, four-tiered system. So maybe it's up to 50,000 gallons, you pay this. Over 50 to 100, you pay this. Over 100,000 gallons a month, you're using that, you need to pay for that extra water. So there's ways to protect residents and at the same time pay for our infrastructure.
Agreed.
Yeah, okay.
And the state agencies are actually advocating for that type of a tiered structure anyway.
And we're gonna shoot for that for probably June or something like that on the arena side anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, May to June.
Okay, moving along, we're gonna go
Mayor,
into,
I have one more.
I just wanted to make one comment. We asked this enterprise fund to be put on the agenda this time because we don't want it to get neglected over and over again, and then we come back 5 years later and have to do a great rate increase. So it's just a way that I think as council, we're just being responsible by looking at what the rates are. And if they have to go up, we can maybe do a small increments if we do this annually.
understood.
So I just wanted to make that as a comment.
The other thing in the water that got kind of kicked down the road in our first June meeting, that's the meeting that lasted till about 11 o'clock, we had to review and approve that night the drought contingency plan, which is in our Code of Ordinances in Chapter 13, which deals with penalty rates if you're over certain consumption levels during a drought. And there's different stages of droughts, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the penalties just keep going up. Our penalties haven't been looked at, I want to say, in over 20 years. And we couldn't do it that night because it had to be approved that night. And we said before next summer, we needed to approve that drought contingency ordinance 13 to look at those rates and to look at the consumption levels. So I'm putting that back on when you're looking at the water rates, all inclusive.
Okay, that it? Okay, next one is just Summerfest 2024.
Yes. Yes, sir, I'll be brief. So Summerfest planning is well underway. We've contacted the key personnel, and we're getting that set up and running. Ms. Bridges, I will be, if she's still here, you and I shall chat at your earliest convenience, madam. But yes, it is moving forward.
Good. Hope it's,
Hey, quick question on that. I talked to Philip. So the June 30th is the date that's the proposed date, or do we have a proposed date because 4th of
Yeah,
July falls on a
June
Thursday?
right now is the proposed date. Sorry. Yeah, we typically do the Sunday before the 4th so that we avoid all the other large city festivities. So that would in fact be June 30th this year.
Right. Just
So, yeah.
get my ducks in a row.
Yeah, that's somebody's birthday, by the way.
Jim, just out of curiosity, did you look at our weather report? How are we looking right now?
Pulled up right here.
It is currently south of Killeen, so we probably, maybe a half hour. So if we can wrap up in a
Try
half
to get
hour.
you out of here before it hits, okay?
Yeah.
I didn't bring an umbrella. Okay, beautification items such as the entrance signs.
Okay, I'll talk to that. I went and, Carrie and I both went and talked to this guy at the Home and Garden Show. Beautiful monument sign that he made. It looked like rock, and they put Morgan's Point Resort on it. These signs, I think, run around $6,000 for like a 4x6. So I thought, we've talked about signage before, and I just think it would be good that we're not ready tonight, but maybe that sign might be more expensive than we need, but to look into signage and find some things that would actually beautify as you're coming into Morgan's Point. I noticed on Morgan's Point Road coming in from the south, it looked like they repainted our sign, and it right away looked better. Okay, and so that really looked good. I noticed it coming in, instead of the faded old sign, here it was, a fresh looking sign, and I thought that, so when I say beautification, we might just want to look into just updating those signs so that they look fresh, and maybe consider a big sign like at Morgan's Point City Hall, and have one there that, with the announcements of all the events that are coming and, on the TV screen and all that. That would be something I would maybe consider in the future too. So I just wanted to make those comments. Anybody else have any comments on that?
Well, Linda, you have a beautification goal in your EDC, so maybe when we talk as a joint meeting with the new city manager and EDC, we can talk about, because we don't have the funds for it in this year's budget,
Right.
but, we can look at it for our next year's budget, or maybe Linda can take that on, especially since she's going to maybe have finished up this beautification project. Okay.
And then just so y'all are aware, that is the acceptable use of the hotel occupancy tax revenue.
Okay.
So typically, I have it earmarked for Summerfest. As we grant more short-term rental, places, our revenue should grow, and hopefully the
do it.
flips brought in some great money that we'll see in next quarter. We'll see, so.
It'd be really nice to redo that little circle right at the city hall, so that when you drive to drop off your water check in the box, you can actually get through. It's really small.
You can auto pay.
Conversation as well as the
Okay.
possibility of, that those are just things we're looking into at this time to see what it looks like.
And so that hotel occupancy tax could possibly cover some of that.
But it's
Well-
been earmarked for this year.
Okay.
Yeah, until we find another project, we're going to keep trying to use that for the Summerfest. But so as the revenue from the hotel occupancy tax increases, we might need to find alternate ways to spend that money.
Okay, moving along on that. We're going to go into the reappointment of Scott Fardair to the EDC. He was approved back in November, I think you said, Linda, but we didn't have a quorum.
December.
Is that correct?
So to speak to this, yes, we had a special meeting in December.
December.
Yeah, where I believe we had 3 council members. Special called meetings require 4. So we technically didn't have a quorum, so the action they took was void. So we are here tonight to request a resolution be approved for the reappointment.
I make a motion that we approve the resolution to appoint Scott Forner to the EDC board.
I'll second. Go
All
ahead,
in favor?
Roxanne.
Aye.
I assume there's no discussion, so I didn't go that route.
Roxanne.
I did.
I didn't go through the discussion, so I assume that everybody's in favor of it. Motion passes. Okay, next, road study.
I make a motion that we get a road study.
Okay, this is an action discussion, whatever. I don't anticipate there'll be any action. We did actually hear from Alfonso today, about 3:55, 4 o'clock. They have signed the contract like I updated the council with last time. They are planning to mobilize this Friday. He is going to call and verify. Once we have a verification from Alfonso that they will be here, we will be sending out notification via our website and all of our social media platforms to inform members of the community that those folks will be here for the however many days. I think it's 2 to 4 days for the actual in-person portion of that road study. Did I miss anything, Kerry?
No, yeah, I'm just gonna, he emailed us something else, so I'm gonna confirm with him after tonight, just to make sure we have it. We will get Susanna working on it, and we will let all the residents know when they will be here.
This might be a,
We're on a roll, let's go ahead and roll into the audit too.
hold on 2 seconds, Mr. Mayor. I got one question on that. Is the survey, the magical Scooby-Doo mystery machine driving around town? Do we need to advise our residents or request that they park off the streets if at all possible? Is this something that's gonna?
I asked that question because I was kind of curious.
Mr.
You imagine the roads are gonna be worse on the outsides, but he said you did not need to.
Fair enough.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Hurry.
We're moving around pretty fast. Really
Faster than we
are.
ever have.
Okay, audit update.
And the audit update, yeah.
There's no action needed at this time. I did receive, myself and Carrie, we received a draft audit report. We are going to be reviewing that in the next few days, and we'll be communicating back with Brooke Watson, who will be working to schedule a meeting to share that with the council, and I will hand it over to Carrie for possible dates to schedule that. Whether we want to do that possibly, well, he can't do the 15th, but later on in the month, or how we want to do that.
Yeah, so, I mean, here it is. So just, it's not, in theory, you know, I printed it off so I could review it as we're. It's just a draft. There's a lot of NPR logos in here, but, so really, it was my thoughts when I put it in the email, knowing that it's been a long time coming, you know, for this report. I did not know if y'all would want to have this at a special meeting or not, because if y'all are wanting the residents to be there, if we're having a special session that is only basically going to be an executive session meeting, would that be something y'all would want to have residents come up here just to hear that and then leave? So if you think about it, and I mean, we could pick a day in May. Obviously, we have the special session on April 15th, but it was out of the question for him anyway. But if there's another one to come up that where it's only going to be an executive session item, do you think that would benefit the residents to not basically be able to only come up here for that, especially if we had it during the day or anything like this? So obviously we could wait till May. I'm assuming y'all might not want that since it's taken so long to begin with, but just think about it tonight and let me and Uriah know.
Yeah, I'm fine with, our next May meeting,
Okay.
having a presentation, having the auditors here, having as many residents come as want to.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be ready
Is
before
that
that, so I mean,
important?
we can
Yeah.
have copies of it to y'all, you know, or whoever.
Yeah, I would like it, yeah, whenever it's
So,
ready. Okay.
but yes, then they could just be scheduled to present at the May meeting if, so.
Thank you, Jerry. Okay, what are we gonna do on the personnel policy? We talked about it, or are we gonna do something on that tonight, or are we still kicking that around? And
I would like to make a motion to table the personnel policy. We're really close, but it's not ready for approval tonight. So it needs some work. We got some council input at the workshop, and I think we can come back with something that's 80 to 90% there next
Come
time.
back in May with.
Back in May.
do I hear a second on that?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Jimbo did.
Jimbo?
I did too, but he beat me.
Motion passes. Okay, next one is to authorize city manager to apply for funding for equipment for Enzay Park for a grant. Resolution 2024.09. Do you want to make a comment on that?
I guess I will. Okay, so it's been posted on our social media accounts and our website. I sent a special notification to the council via text and email. I went out and looked at the equipment at Ante Park. It was in a severe state of disrepair. I instructed city staff to remove that playscape. The last thing I want is one of our community members or their children getting hurt playing on our equipment that we provide for them. That being said, that equipment's not free. So right now there is just a vacancy where that playscape used to be. What I'm asking for is for council to authorize the resolution that's in the packet, which allows me to apply for grant funding. The amount, I know I had originally asked in the text and emails for up to $200,000 with up to $100,000 matching. We left the $200,000 part out, but felt it was very important to leave in the $100,000 match, as that is would be the city's contribution of not to exceed. But there may be opportunities to get more than $200,000 with that $100,000 match, or even less. So that's why the $200,000 was left out. We could get a 75-25% grant, just depending on where we get it from. SITCOG staff are actively working on private foundation grants as well as community partner type grants to see what we can get, as well as Texas Parks and Wildlife and all the other entities that we're aware of that offer this kind of equipment. Like I said, there will be a lot to invest in that. In addition to the pieces of equipment, I anticipate we would have two new pieces of equipment, one for 6 month or 2 year to 5 years, and then a larger playscape for bigger kids. That being said, the floor covering out there is also very antiquated and will need to be updated. And with the bringing in of new equipment and the painting of equipment and just fixing what we have out there, I have been in communications with Chief Schutze on how we can ensure that the park is not vandalized, and how we can keep the restrooms open and so that our community members can actively enjoy that park. We're still talking about options for that and what that looks like for cameras, camera placement, Wi-Fi, any of those type activities, just so we have a better handle. But this is a large project, and it's a work in progress, and we'll just keep working forward if the council takes action to approve the resolution.
You're right. We certainly appreciate you taking this by the horn.
Absolutely.
And running with it, and this is something we need.
Yep.
Thank you. I'm going to ask
I will go ahead and make a motion to accept the resolution 2024.09, authorizing the city manager to apply for funding for equipment to Ansay Park in the amount of not to exceed $200,000 with a match not to exceed $100,000.
He doesn't want to put a limit on it. He just
Okay.
wants to limit the city match.
Not to exceed $100,000.
I have one minor change to the ordinance, and that is, it says, and I know what you're trying to do, interim city manager and the city manager to apply. And there's 3 places where that should probably say and/or the city manager, because I realize we might be in transition during this grant. So there's 3 places I would like to make sure it says and/or. And then I'd also just want to make sure that Parks and Rec Committee is involved in the process from soup to nuts. Okay.
Is there a second on that, please?
I'll second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. I hear thunder.
Motion to
Motion to go home.
No, I think we determined we don't need executive session.
Yeah, Ryan is going to send
Right.
out,
Do I need to announce that?
You're going to send out the question?
We have postponed an executive session. It will not be held tonight.
it'll be sent to you in an email tomorrow.
Right. Anything you want to, anybody have any comments? If not, we're going to,
Thank you all for coming. Stay safe.
And then we talked about maybe you doing your, the rest of the agenda at the beginning of our April 15th meeting.
Of the city manager update.
For the, yeah, the city manager update and whatever else is left on the agenda.
That's it.
Oh, okay, okay. So if there's anything on the 15th, and future agenda items, yeah. And the only future agenda item that I had was that I would like a report on the status, and this might be like the perfect timing in between an interim and new city manager, a report on the status of our 23-24 work plan goals. We will have been 7 months into the year, so it might be a good time to evaluate this. Are we adjourning?
Before we run, I want to, as a council comment, I did talk to Linda Bridges during the break, and if you look at her package, which was exceedingly well done, thank you very much, it gives the impression that the facilities will be like tiny homes. And she said, no, 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 they're garden sheds. Very, very minimal expense, but great for the people. These things are god-awful expensive. Garden sheds ain't cheap, but they're a whole lot cheaper than this. So I did want to clarify that point. She's got it under control. You just got to take a look at it.
Thanks. Thank you.